The Sunrise Morning Show continues. I'm Matt Swaim, joined now by Dr. Bob Roberts. He's founder of Northwood Church in Texas, and he's a member of the Religious Advisory Board for In Defense of Christians. They're holding an ecumenical prayer service this week. Pastor Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about this ecumenical prayer service. What's going on, when it's happening, and what's your role in it?
Well, it starts tonight, and it's from 6:30 until 8 at the St. Sophia Eastern Orthodox Church. And the point of the prayer is for believers to come together to pray for Christians that are facing persecution, especially in the Middle East, but also around the world. And so it's a time for us as different denominations and faith traditions to put those aside. If someone is suffering for the sake of the gospel, we ought to be able to get down on our knees with one another and pray for them. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, and this is such an important effort for Christians to be united in regards to, when ISIS or the, Boko Haram squads come through, they don't ask you if you're a Baptist. They don't ask you if you're a Methodist or a Catholic. Don't. They just... they see you as a Christian and an enemy, and this is something that I think that we may be on the different pages in a lot of other places, but this is something I feel like we can all be on the same page with.
Yeah, I agree. And we're Orthodox churches. We do believe in the Trinity. We believe in the authority of the Scriptures. So, I'm a Baptist. I have a special way I want to do that. But if somebody's a Catholic and, they believe, in God, man, I want to stand up for them. Or if they're Orthodox, or if they're Pentecostal, because we have to stand together. And when we do stand together, it makes the voice that much stronger.
It does indeed. It does indeed. So 6:30 p.m., and that's going to be linked at sunrisemorningshow.com. In Defense of Christians is just a fantastic resource for such things. How did you get involved with them?
A few years ago, I began to work around the world, and I get imams and pastors together in very sensitive places. We do retreats with them in order to get to know one another and bring the tension down. And we were speaking on a panel together. So I was talking about our work in Pakistan, and they were talking about what they were doing in Lebanon. And I got to meet their founder, Mr. Tawfiq, and we just hit it off. And I love what they do. And as a Baptist, I'm not used to being in Catholic churches, but I've worked in the Middle East a tremendous amount. And a lot of times I would see a Catholic church or an Orthodox church, and when I would get excited because there were so few churches there. And I would go in and I would just be quiet and I would pray. And so when I met Tawfiq and I was telling him that story, he asked me to be a part of the advisory board, and we've just tried to link arms wherever we can to work together to bring the tension down.
Well, it's a wonderful collaboration, and, I grew up Methodist and Nazarene, and I never went inside a Baptist church, so we're even, I suppose. But, when it comes to this, we live here in the United States, and it's easy for us to look around and think of ourselves as, a Christian nation and, all the things. We got our own struggles, right? But we think,
right.
I drove through East Tennessee this weekend and passed like 15 churches on one stretch of 2 miles of road. And it's easy to forget that the most ancient and historic places where Christianity grew and flourished from the very beginning, those are the places we're talking about when we're talking about religious freedom.
It is, and we should never dismiss them. I mean, who's an evangelical scholar has not studied, Augustine and told the stories of his conversion, or St. Francis and how he loved. I mean, you can go down the list of all the Catholics, and keep in mind, Luther was never about starting a new denomination. That was not his point. He wanted the church to come back to God. So there's so many things that are there that are part of our history. We share it, and you're right. They've been there for a long time. And here's the thing: every culture in every season in history, the church adapts. So somebody who were to come visit our church 200 years from now would say, boy, those people, why were they like that? Because, there are certain cultural things and things that have been handed down. So there's definitely a tie, a strong tie.
So I will ask you this because, we've been having a very friendly ecumenical conversation, and, this is going to be St. Sophia Greek Orthodox Cathedral where this prayer service is happening. Knowing how Baptist churches are, structured, and knowing how Orthodox churches are structured, are you going to take any interior decorating tips away from what you see at the cathedral?
If you were to come to my study at my home, it may shock you because I'm
got
very
icons in there.
evangelical. Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing: I've got Orthodox paintings and pictures and little mementos all over the place. I love art, so yeah, I guarantee you, I'll take some decorating hints. One, I already do, and I love them. It's really I've learned a lot about spirituality from an Orthodox perspective, and as long as you don't worship those things, it's good to reflect. It ties you to history.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, a little pointer Catholic theology, if we were to worship those things, it would be considered a mortal sin in our books.
Okay.
FYI. FYI. In the meantime, Dr. Bob Roberts, you're going to be involved with this ecumenical prayer service. Remind our listeners of the details so we can band together as believers in Christ and pray for our brothers and sisters around the world facing persecution of all kinds.
You bet. Right here in D.C., St. Sophia, and it will be at 6:30. It'll be an hour and a half. There'll be evangelicals, Catholics, and Eastern Orthodox, and everything in between that'll be there praying. There may even be people that are non-Christians that come and join us that care about it. So the public's welcome. We would love to have you. It'll be a neat place to see some incredible leaders all concentrated in a single place.
And all worshiping our triune God. Yeah,
you bet.
We got
right.
indefenseofchristians.org, linked at sunrisemorningshow.com for more info. Thanks, Dr. Roberts. Have a great day.